We are live.
Fantastic.
So it says setting up meeting Facebook Live page. That's very interesting because I was already told that I am live, so I'm going to go live. Hi, everybody. I'm on Facebook, and this is Michelle. I am excited today because I have Miles Vinciguerra. Did I
Yep.
pronounce it correctly? Okay.
Yeah, you did.
I have Miles here with me, and Miles is an iPad coach. I met him through the iPad community, and when I first started talking to Miles, it's just been amazing. So Miles is a certified professional life coach and energy leadership index master practitioner. He's the author of a new book, When Living Without Discovering What Is Within, which
Yep.
focuses on helping teenager and young adult growing up without a father. Mao is also a musician who plays in a heavy metal band, which is
Yeah.
wow, very different,
Yeah.
extreme. And Mao believed that if the young adult and millennial of this generation develop themselves personally and strive to achieve their goals and develop their mindset and self-confidence, they will overcome the feeling of fear, anxiousness, and depression. And the mission for his coaching business is to help millennials overcoming anxiety and depression. He has studied personal development for over 6 years and can personally attribute accomplishment through goals of his mindset and self-confidence that help him overcome any feelings of anxiety and depression. So here is Miles, and
That's
with
me.
his book, When
Yep.
Living Without Discovering What Is Within. So Miles, tell us about you.
So, 25-year-old kid. I'm from a small town in Blackstone, Massachusetts. Very, very small town, probably about a mile long. I've been a coach for about 2 years, and yeah, I mean, what more can I say? I mean, you really gave the introduction. Lead guitarist in a heavy metal band. We're called Soul Trap. Got a YouTube, Coach Miles V. Just here to show up. Just here to provide value. Yeah.
What inspired you to go onto the journey as a coach?
I think so. What inspired me was, I think like I planted a seed at a young age. So when I was and this really ties into like what I talk about in my book. I think what inspired me to become a coach was like I spent so long developing, like really, really working on myself, and I still do. I mean, I always will throughout my whole entire life. And with that, like it just came like I spent so much time listening to Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, Deepak Chopra, really these people who consider themselves, they are life coaches. And I think I just planted a seed like, why can't I do that? Like, why can't I become a coach? Why can't I really, really learn how to help people? Like I was learning a lot of the content, but like I didn't understand really how to coach people. I mean, in the way that IPEC coaches, how IPEC trains their coaches. So, and I think it was just like, what's the opportunity here? What is there for me? Like I'd started my landscaping business probably when I was about 17, 18 years old. And like, I'm doing landscaping jobs. I'm working another job. Like I was working my guts out. And like the whole entire time I'm just listening to audiobooks, listening to life coaches, like a lot of personal development. And it just started to like, wow, like the love for personal development and for coaching was like competing with my love for landscaping. And yeah, that's really how it started.
Thank you so much for sharing that, because I think, it a lot of us, go through our life and listening to a lot of inspirational book and, talks, and they're usually something that's in there, that inspirational speech that motivates us and that lifts us and wanted us to start thinking about, well, what can I do to use these tools in a practical sense? And I completely agree with you in terms of, how IPAC is training us. They gave us really valuable tool that really tap into the core of, some of our holdback, our roadblocks, that we haven't realized, which you can't really get it out of from the surface level. I'm really curious in terms of, what were you going through in your life in terms of why did you even start thinking about, listening to Tony Robbins, listening to Deepak Chopra? Like, what made you wanted to listen to them in the first place?
Yeah. So I talk about it in my book, and so I guess this also is like a brief introduction to the book is, so I was abandoned by my dad probably when I was about 2, 3 years old. And for a long time, like I just watched my mom struggle. Like she struggled for our entire childhood. I mean, I think most of that struggle was like monetary. Like she's always been a great mom. We've always had a great family, but like I knew like that there's something going on here that she's not telling me. I can see it, you know? And I think just as I grew in maturity, like I couldn't understand this when I was 5 years old. I'm playing with toys, you know what I mean? I got my sister, like I'm not seeing those things. But when I was probably about 14, 15 years old and I started asking questions, I was starting to become just a little bit more mature, still a complete goofball when I was a kid. But so when I started asking questions, like all I really wanted to know was like, how do I become successful? Like I need to help my mom. That's it. Like I have to do something. And that's like really what I talk about like in chapter 1, chapter 2 of this book is like seeing my mom struggle, seeing my mom go through the things that she went through raising us as kids, like was like you need to like I had to step up to the plate. Like I feel like I've just had to learn like the torch is going to be passed on. You know what I mean? And I'm completely fine with like I'll take it. You know what I mean? I want it. Like she's going to have to pass the torch to me. So that's really how I viewed it was like all I wanted to do was learn how to become successful. And it was like success principles, you know what I mean, by Jack Canfield, like
Right.
Unleash the Power Within by Tony Robbins. Like, and I was like, okay. And that's all it was.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, I think a lot of teenagers and, young adults, they can really resonate what you have just said, because they're watching their parents, they're watching adult going through a very tough journey, and kids pick up. They're very sensitive about, the feeling around adult. And sometimes, we really don't know what's in their mind. So in terms of that struggle, because from how I see, how I view it, it's like, oh, you had a really rough childhood, and growing up must be really a struggle, must be really a challenge to you. But I'm talking about it from a third person perspective. What was it like to be, growing up, and was it a struggle to you?
So we did have like we had a great childhood. I mean, we were loved. My family has always supported me. I have an unbelievable family. Like, and my mom is a world class mother. Like anything that I've ever done, like when my landscaping business, it was like I just got to help my mom. I'm gonna run this as a for-profit business that operates as a nonprofit, and I just want the money to flow to her. Like that's just been the entire thing. So because I've always wanted to help. So like, but the struggle, the biggest struggle that I had was like not having a father, being raised by a single mother, was like I didn't know where I could go to for the struggle came with like who's gonna teach me how to throw a football? Like how am I gonna learn to swing a wrench? Like who's gonna show me like, how to be like a great man? That was really all that I wanted to to learn as a kid. And and I talk about it in the book was like the struggle wasn't so much that I don't have a dad. It's what I said before. It was seeing my mom struggle. Like that was like the trigger point for me. And yeah, so but as far as like growing up without a father, and really what I talk about in this book is like my perspective on abandonment is very, very contradicting compared to a lot of the books and a lot of the things that I've seen, like doing a little bit of market research, talking, like thinking about this book. And yeah, because it's just like the cover says. I mean, I really had to discover like what was inside of me, and I'm still doing it. I still do it. Like I'm still constantly working on it, and it was, I'm not sure how else to put it. Like a lot of self-discovery. Like who do you want to be? Like that's been the biggest question of my life is who do you want to be? And it's really a question that I pose in this book. So
Mhm.
So yeah.
What I heard, through that conversation when you're describing your mom is you have so much love for your
Oh
mom.
yeah. Oh
Like,
yeah.
yes, there was an absence or
And
lack
my
of,
sister.
yeah,
Yeah.
and your sister. There's a lack of, that male, that male figure in the family where you learn how to play football, learning how to, be a man. But at the same time, I felt so much love that's coming out of you for your mom.
Mm-hmm.
And what you said was, from that, through that journey, you discover, what is within, and that what is within is really discovering who you are.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And this is really, really what I pose for the readers of this book. Like, if you're someone who is growing up, like, if you could just cover this right here and
Mhm.
just consider it the title, like, if you're growing up without a mom, if you're growing up without a dad, if you don't even have any parents at all, like, the ability to like look inside of you and see like who you really are. Like, one of our foundation principles in coaching is we're all greater and wiser than we appear and than we know. And
Mhm.
when you start asking questions, when you really start like digging deep into yourself, is like what this book is talking about is like it actually challenges the the social information that we've received out throughout all of our lives, which is like needing both parents, like
Mhm.
needing a mom, like needing a dad. And this book and what I've talked about is like, for me, is like, I don't need a father. Like, you don't need that person in your life to gain what you want and to be who you want and to develop the skills that you want. Like, you can have all of those things and more, because growing up, I'm watching my friends, they're going to Disney, they're doing things. It's like a family thing. You know what I mean? You see the photos.
Yeah.
And because, as I said, like how we were talking before, is like this book really introduces a lot of new information. And the information that I was getting throughout my entire life was like I need a mom and I miss my dad. I need a mom and I miss my dad. Well, I have my mom and I miss my dad. And so I've just discovered that like you don't need it. Like, you just got to start asking questions and really like, how do you leverage role models? Like, there's a lot of different things. So I
Mhm.
don't I don't want to like spoil the entire book, but because I could
Yeah.
totally do that. Because I could totally do that.
What's your book title again?
When living without, discover what's within. And so the back reads is like, so when I wrote the book, like I looked up statistics on like the US Census Bureau, like how many kids are growing up without a father in the household.
Yeah.
And in 2017, that was like the most recent statistic, was it's that 1 in 4 in the United States is growing up without a father in the home, which is about nearly 20 million kids, like 20 million kids. And what I talk about is like, I say that if you're growing up without a father in the home, like the challenges, the hardships, the pain that you're discovering it's literally like destiny is lining you up for this to be a major opportunity. And I've just always believed that. And especially in my own life, like, what's the opportunity in this? What was the opportunity in my landscaping business? Like, and when you really like get that seed planted and you really start to work around that, you're like, you just start to, I don't know, you just start to believe it. That's really how it's been for like the past 10 years. So
Mhm. Mhm. So in your experience, when you were growing up, because I think some of the kids, out there who's listening, who may be watching a replay, how do you deal with that judgment that you receive from other people? Because I'm sure there are people, that you encounter in the past, or maybe you have encountered or not, in the past, where they come around and they say, "Oh, Miles, you don't have a dad. Oh, I'm sorry for you. Or I feel bad for you. Or oh yeah, my dad is doing this and that." How do you deal with that judgment piece?
hmm. So in the beginning of this book, I say like, no matter where this person is, right? Like, if someone's listening to this right now and they don't have a dad, the things that I teach about and the things that I talk about in this book has worked for me and might not work for you. Like, no matter where you are is perfectly okay. Each journey in this life really is unique.
Mhm.
And so how Miles Vinciguerra deals with it, and how like the perspective that I have on it and what I've known, like how I've grown in the past 10 years, is like, when people say like, Miles, I'm very sorry for you, I'm like I'm thankful I don't have a dad. Very contradicting. It's very, very contradicting. Like that's like who says that? Like who says like I'm like, oh, I'm happy I don't have a dad. Like, oh, no biggie. No worries.
Yeah.
You know, and because when you realize that you can have all of those things, like you can learn how to be whoever you want to be, you can, I mean,
The possibility is endless.
the possibility is endless. And even what I introduce in my book is, as much as I love my mom, as much as she's taught me like everything about who I am, she's taught me how to be a great person. But the landscaping business, the metal band, the YouTube, the book, like all these things that I've been working on in my life, even my mom can't teach me that.
Mm-hmm.
My dad couldn't teach me those things. Only I could teach them to myself, you know? And this is what I really want the reader to start like to understand, is that like yeah, that's really like how I want to put it, is like, so that's what I say is like, even though you could have like, and I know a lot of kids and I know a lot of friends that have had like that father figure or just their dad in their lives that have actually held them back more than it's helped them, because they're attached to the outcome of their child's life. You know what I mean? Like imagine, I can't even imagine like if I did have a father, like maybe I wouldn't be doing this because he would have wanted me to do something else. So that's like a perspective. That's a perspective right there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I actually like I introduced a lot of different perspectives. Like in one of them is like, you know, I always say, like I tell this to my girlfriend, I tell it to my friends, is like everything in life is a sale. Like whether if I'm like introducing myself to Michelle, hey, I wrote this book, like I'm talking about this book, like I'm trying to sell you on who I am so I can get you into the interview. And so like even for me, like not having a father is like I only have one person to sell when I wanted a toy at Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
Hey mom, like episode 1 just came out. It's like 2000, Star Wars episode 1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey mom, can I get that lightsaber? Like I only got one gatekeeper. Like she's not like, I don't get that question of go ask your dad.
Uh-huh.
Like I don't get that question. You know what I mean? So when I started working out these different perspectives, I'm like, oh, okay, like, you know, and it does take some time. It really does take some time, but it's just like there's only like, you know, only one person. Like I got in a lot of trouble when I was a kid. I was just a goofball. I'm still a goofball, but like there's only one person who reprimanded me.
Uh-huh. Your
You
grandma.
know, my grandmother definitely reprimanded me, but it was only my mom. Like, you know what I mean? I don't have to get yelled at by my mom and then get yelled at my dad because he's not there.
Yeah.
You know, so. And I like I said, I don't want to give the book away, but these are really the things that I introduce because it's a new information. It's new information.
Mm-hmm. And what I heard, you know, even during our first, you know, introduction, you were talking about your book. You're like, Michelle, hey, I have this book, and there's so much values in this book. I wanted to talk about it. You know, what do you think? And I was so excited for you because, you know, what I heard was a lot of, you know, very valuable skills, which is, it's not, there's nothing on the market right now, and that actually give people the actual skills that you use for yourself. You know, you practice them throughout your whole entire life, and that you believe in them. And what I heard was passion, love, you know, passion for that book and love for that book. And I think it's just so amazing that to be able to see someone actually use those skills to be the person they are today. And to many people, you know, they're thinking, oh my god, this is such a, you know, a struggle, a challenge, you know, what was it like, you know, I can't even imagine what it's like to grow up without a father. But here you are, you have that optimistic, you have that love, and I love the positive energy that you're sending out to everyone.
Thank you.
And the fact that you put so much valuable skills into the book, it's just unconventional. I feel like people are, you know, more thinking about like what's in it for me, looking at it at a profit standpoint. So a lot of people, when they write, you know, they don't necessarily provide a lot of, you know, actual skills in their book. And you know, from what I'm hearing, you actually provide a lot of, you know, different perspective. You offer skills for kids who might be reading a book, and even for, you know, mom who might be raising a child, they need to hear this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious. So for those who are single parents, whether it's single mom or single dad, there's that absence of, that male figure or female figure in the family. What would you say to those audience?
What would I say to the single mother?
Yeah, or single dad, because sometimes we have a lot
The
of
single
single
dad.
dad nowadays.
Right, right. That's a great question. Well, because the thing is like this, and this is what I talk like. This book is really half coaching.
Mm,
Lots of questions that help the reader. Like, it promotes their own self-discovery, their own self-awareness. Because I know what I want to say, like, but I don't want to give advice. Like, I want to like ask a question.
mhm,
Number one, I mean, for the single mom or for the single dad, like, my mom's been planting seeds my whole entire life. Like, she's really been planting seeds in me my entire life. Like, oh mom, like, I want to do this, I want to do that, and she's like, go for it. Like,
mhm,
just go for it. You know what I mean? And like, if you can like plant a seed for your child that like, hey, you can be somebody great, like you can do great things. Like, number one, that right there is very, very, very valuable.
mhm,
But also like sitting down with your child and like if they are going through this, is because all like I talk about abandonment probably about 5% in this book.
mhm,
95% of the rest of it is really about the self-discovery and the tactics and the things that have helped me. Because I'm trying to put this the right way. It's it's for me, it's been a redirection of energy. For the first 14 years of my life was a lot of directing my energy towards the past. And when I started just really thinking about my future and really thinking about where I want to go, was like, and who I want to be, was when I didn't have energy to think about my dad. Like, you got to redirect your energy. I think that's really what I want to say, is like, you got to redirect your energy. And for the single mom, like, if they could show them this, like, you got to think about, who do you want to be? Right? Because like I said, I didn't have a dad to like show me, how to be like a man. And I guess I didn't think, I mean, I can still learn those things from my mom,
mhm,
because traits and characteristics, I mean, we just pick them up from whoever, like, how am I trying to put it? Like, you don't need to learn from a man like how to be a great man. And what you need is like an example of a great man, which is like a role model, a mentor, or someone who you really admire. And I got a whole entire chapter on that in this book. Is
mhm,
like how to leverage those role models. But yeah, just really the first step is like discovering who you are, and then like working on like your abundance mindset, which is like, you can have everything, and then working on the perspective of of how you view like this loss. Like, I view this loss as a gain.
mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
it's tough to talk about, because like I understand that if someone's seeing this for the first time, is like they might not understand. Like they probably don't, and that's completely okay. Like, there's no right or wrong wherever that person is.
Mhm.
And yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. And what I heard was that shift of energy. And I think, a lot of single parents, or, even the child, their parents would send them to therapy. And when you're in therapy, sometimes you're spending a lot of time, like focusing on, oh, what's missing, what's broken, and how can we, figure out what's missing and what's broken, and how can we get you set forward into your action mode. But as a coach, and you do ask a lot of empowering questions, and I'm sure that's also a reflection in the book, that there's a lot of
Yeah,
empowering
so
questions.
many, so many
Yeah.
questions. Yeah.
So there's a lot of question about discovering, that piece of who we are and how do we want to show up. It's not about, who are those people around us. It's really about finding and discovering what's within. So
Uh-huh.
you have
Absolutely.
you have a perfect book title. What's that title again?
When living without, discover what's within.
Hmm.
See, and like, so you know what I mean? Like, how, like, even if my dad was in my life, he's not gonna give me this book cover. Like, he didn't name my metal band. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't. There was nothing that like, I had to do it myself, like everything. You got to do it yourself. And it's like, it's just a perspective. Like, it's just one way of like seeing it,
Yeah.
So.
Like a glass half empty or half full, right? It's all about different perspective and how you see your situation, and it all comes back to the you who's doing it.
Oh yeah. Like if my dad like goes on Facebook and he like types in my name, you know what I mean? Like if he's watching this, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And it wasn't like the only I wouldn't be here if I didn't like ask my mom like, hey, like what was it like? And she told me about like, I mean, my mom didn't eat like unless we had leftovers. Because like I'm definitely not trying to make this a pity party, like, because I mean we're doing great now and we've been doing great for a long time. But like that was like a pain point, you know what I mean? That was like, okay, like who do you want to be? What do you want your last name to mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like what do you like,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because I started redirecting my energy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm 14, I'm 15 years old, and I'm like, man, like I just want to become like successful. I just got to do something. Like I'm 14 years old. I'll never forget sitting on the floor in my living room and being like, okay, if I got a job making $3 an hour and working like 50 hours a week, like, oh, I could give my mom like, you know what I mean? I could give her that money or like whatever. And so I've just, because I spent so much time, like I had something to look forward to. I really had something to look forward to, and that's where that redirection of energy was coming in.
Yeah. Wow. If you have to sum up with 3 words in your future about your future in 3 words, what would be those 3 words?
Sum up my future?
Yeah. What does that look like in 3 words?
The first one that comes up is work.
Okay.
I love to work. Like, I just love to work. Like, I love to show up. Like, I work all day long. Because I've seen how that's helped me. That's something that someone can take away. Like, that's a whole different redirection of energy. When you got something to work on, a purpose. Yeah. Okay. So work / purpose. Fun. I think fun. And I think just love.
Okay.
Got a lot of love. Got a lot of love for my family. Like, the people who like this book. I mean, if anyone's like seeing this right now, like the people who have bought, like I've like people have been buying my book the past couple of weeks. Just thank you so much. Thank you so much. Because this means a lot to me. And the people who have supported me and
So to sum up, your future would be work, fun, and love.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Is it okay if I offer a different word for you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
What I heard was a lot of passion. What do you think about replacing work to passion?
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. I think it's the same thing.
Yeah.
To me, like, yeah, absolutely. I love that.
Yeah, there's a lot of passion that I'm hearing, for the book, for your mom, for everything that's around you. And, you're truly embracing that, everything that we have learned from IPAC, and you're carrying it with you in your everyday life. There's a lot of, you're actually living and practicing those principles that we have learned. And
right. Yeah. Well, I believe that, like, if someone's going to follow me, like, I got to be a practitioner of what I talk about. You know what I mean? And actually, like, purpose is a really, really big topic in this book. And I believe, like, you can have more than one purpose. Like, to me, my number one purpose I always got to have a great relationship with myself. Always. If I'm not 100% for myself, like, I can't be 100% for my mom. I can't be my mom and my sister. I can't be 100% for my coworkers, for my band, like, for my girlfriend, and that's one purpose. Like, my next purpose is like focusing on, like, who am I helping out, focusing on, like, helping out my family. And like I said, just another place to direct your energy. Like, and I believe, like, if you can, for me, like I love to take responsibility for a lot of things, like because it's really helped me grow. I'm not trying to brag. I'm like talk about this with my girlfriend all the time. Like when I'm talking, I'm really not trying to brag. But it's just who I am. It's just who I am. That's how I'm trying to be. So because those things like, oh, you got a book, like you got to market it now. Like I'm always trying to work towards like push that potential bar. Like you got to show up for new things. You know what I mean? Like face some fear.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things in life that are fearful. Like going live on Facebook. Like I'm definitely excited. Like I feel great in the moment, but like it's a worried thing. Like putting out something like this. Like you don't ever know how it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Asking someone out. Yeah, asking someone out. Yeah, asking someone out on a date. So there's a lot of different things, but
yeah. So I wanted to wrap up. If you were to give away like one small advice or a tip or hint or something that's useful that the audience can walk away with today, what would that be?
Tip or advice or like just work on to develop yourself. The greatest investment is in yourself. It's just a seed, you know what I mean? Like invest time in yourself, invest money in yourself. Absolutely invest money in yourself. If you make $500 a week and your expenses for the week are $350, like spend at least $100 of yourself, like on your personal development. Like just continue dumping it into yourself. Always working on your ideal self-image. Remember that tool that we're taught?
Yeah.
So, because there's only one person who's going to bring you to where you want to be. My mom couldn't do it for me. My dad can't market this book for me. My mom can't market it. My girlfriend, my grandmother, my sister. It's invest in yourself. That's the number one thing.
So besides the book, I know that you also do one-on-one coaching. So who are your clients? Who are you coaching?
Yes, so teenagers and young adults between 14 to like 25.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where can people find you?
They can find me at www.coachmazv.com. That is my official website. You can find me on YouTube, Coach Mazv. You want to check out my metal band, www.coachmazv.com/soultrap. Instagram at Coach Mazv. Yeah.
And where can we buy the book?
So just DM me. Go to my DMs, type me in on Facebook, Maz Vinciguerra. Just get in my DMs and I'll ship one to you. And yeah.
You'll sign it?
Actually, well, yeah, if you're local, like if someone local from the area is watching this live, if you're in Pawtucket, this book is for sale at Stillwater Books in Pawtucket.
What's the book title again?
When Living Without, Discover What's Within, helping teenagers and young adults growing up without a father. Remember, within this book, you will discover that the challenges you are facing is actually your destiny calling you towards the greatest opportunity of your life.
Woo-hoo!
Yeah. Feels good. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I really, really appreciate you having me on. It really means the most to me. How can I help you? Well,
we're going to have to talk offline. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. So Thank you so much for watching us. This is Monday Coffee Talk, and I will see you guys next time.
Absolutely. Be great.
Yeah.